All right. Oh, it gives me the option to leave the meeting. All right. I'll just say got it. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Shane. All right. And we'll go through supplier management and we'll start with kind of access for a supplier. How's the supplier going to register? And then we can go into kind of all of the things that a supplier would need to register. This is Zoom, so let me remind myself how to share my screen. I should have done that already. Okay. Can everybody see my screen? I know everybody in the room can, but
yes,
okay.
Your screen is coming through.
All right. So I'm showing the vendor portal for any supplier that drives to the vendor portal, either through evavirginia.gov. If they land here, then they can register from here. They can also, there's a link on eva.virginia where you can register from there as well. But we'll say that the vendor came here, saw some stuff that they wanted to see, and wants to register. So here, kind of as we have today, they can register from here. A little bit of the same process. Currently, we drive out to VSS right now, and now we'll be going to the new system, Eva Next, whatever we're going to call it for now. So as you see, definitely different. What are the kind of the items that a supplier is going to need to have? Basic company information, contact information, the commodities that they're going to want to be notified, but also what they offer in the regions. And then the tax address, all of the payment, billing, ordering that they can fill out either on their own or as I'll show you, tax address we'll just kind of copy along with it. I think a lot of companies only have one address, so that we'll continue, and then we can talk about the MOA. So let me start, and you can see even with tax ID, what we have is US based EIN, US based SSN, but then we've have a better way to capture foreign vendors. I think that's something that's been challenging, I guess is the right word. But for now, we'll be able to capture those. We have the ability to send off to Cardinal and to that information. So, but let's start. And if the form, I'll just show it, but it'll show the EIN, the SSN. It works the same as the US base, so it's really nothing different between how the US base is going to capture. So I will start creating new vendors. Name. Can we come up with something interesting? If I could spell it. No, that's not that interesting. It's a company name. Name is shown on W9. We do have quite a few mouse overs, so we give you some information about what for vendors. So what can they use, special characters they can use, organization type. I'll say hello P. Let's do the LLC so we can show that another window pops up. Partnership, any supplemental org information that we would like to add. DUNS number, no longer required, but optional if they want to put it, still 9 digits. Web address, it's required for charge cards. Delivery method isn't, but you can always select how you're going to deliver your items. And then we added the unique, entity ID. It's for the vendors that are doing federal work. So there's an optional field to add that information there. So
I'm sorry, what was that?
the unique entity ID, it's a federal code for businesses that are going to do work with the, like if they're going to federal contracts or something like that. It's a code that they could put in there. Right. Right.
Okay.
The difference is it's 12 digits instead of 9. So I think that's really and it does have a, mouse over for the vendor so they know what. All right, so let's contact name. So don't use that as often. Another mouse over talking about special characters. Okay, so for test environments, I think most people that have been playing in here have know that using multiple email addresses can be a little problematic, especially for everybody that's been testing. So for the test environments which we're in, we'll automatically do a default password, so you can still log in with that fake account because there's really no access to that email if it's not a live email account, like it's a personal one. So let's use Bruce.
Hey, Rich, and while you're typing this stuff out,
Sure.
Just a quick thing for our to help our online users here. We can't quite hear the other people in the room when they're asking questions. So if you could just repeat the question when they come in,
Okay.
you're fine, keep going. But just if you wouldn't mind saying, oh, there was a question in the room and it's blah, blah, blah. If you wouldn't mind repeating the question, we'd appreciate it.
Well, Lakia is a soft-spoken person, so maybe she needs just to yell a little bit. So-
Margie had asked about that,
Oh, yeah.
that unique entity ID
Right.
in the federal ID.
Did you get that, Shane? They asked about the UEID. The
Yes,
unique-
yes.
Okay,
We're-
okay.
We're good there. Thank you.
All right. Add phone, email, commodities. Nice type ahead. Pick whatever commodities you think best fit for being notified, also what you offer, and then there's a couple of ways that you can do. You can type in Virginia for statewide. You can come down to see all, and it gives you the kind of the breakdown. So North America, United States, then it'll give you all the states. If you select here, it'll select Virginia. But if you expand it, it doesn't select everything underneath. So if you wanted to select something specific, you could select to the right. It would select all of them underneath. Now, and then you could also, uncheck if that's some of the areas that you don't cover. So you see.
Yeah, I was just noticing it's a department in front of all the counties.
Yeah, it does. That's probably system testing.
Okay. I don't know if that'll confuse anybody that sees, department
Right.
instead of like county or city.
Let me just take a note of that. Hey, maybe just system testing, but I'll verify. that.
Okay.
So,
Well, chances are Virginia.
Yeah, there may be a few that try to narrow down to a specific city or county, but I would guess most of them would pick Virginia or
Right.
all of the US.
Right.
It's just the system testing, because it says state. and, UAC.
Okay. All right. And hopefully most vendors would say yes, that they would like to get notified. And so we'll here. All right. Now, come down to tax address, currently we have Strike Iron that does validation after you've entered. Here at Google, it'll fill it in as you're typing, as Google does. It'll set it. If you want to add billing address, you can do that, uncheck, and then you can do it there.
So you can leave it yes for the same or no, and then put in an alternate.
Right, exactly. So I think we'll leave it here at my office for now. And then we come down to MOA. You can accept it or you can not register. That's really your two options. So here you can accept, and then you have a little security control down here, VWN. All right. And if you have completed everything, and it didn't come out of the field, I guess.
So if you don't check the accept MOA, it won't let you go any further.
Correct. Okay, and then vendor gets a message, hey, you're gonna get an email. Please look out for it, and then that'll teach you how you can complete your login and everything. So yeah, go ahead.
So, my question is about the MOA. When they click on it, is it gonna mention anything about the fees? Because that's our number one question that we get from our vendors, that they click the MOA, but they weren't.
Told about the
They,
fees.
yeah,
We're
that-
aware of the
it was so breezed over so quickly, and I just want to make sure that when they're clicking that box, they are aware that there are terms and conditions and that there are fees.
Are the terms and conditions, and we can create a new one just so we can see
You
that.
know, I was hoping like at some point to have, when they click the MOA, maybe a second box that says,
Like
please be
clicking this,
aware
you're agreeing
that
to-
by agreeing to the MOA terms and conditions, there are fees associated. I just think it would be really beneficial to everyone.
I don't know if you can see that, but I'm scrolling
can't.
through the whole MOA that has
Okay.
all procurement transactions.
Number 2 says EVA fees are set forth in the EVA fee schedule defined above, which it really isn't defined above.
Right.
Rich, is that just an attachment?
I think they copied
No,
this.
that's from the MOA that we
That's
currently
from
have.
the
I guess what I'm
MOA.
saying is there's any edits that need to be made to that MOA, just like Jan said, it says the fee structure above, and there's nothing above.
Right.
So can that be edited?
You can update the MOA. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we can update,
And then it's just attached to this.
and it'll just
Okay,
live
so
here
that's
just
what-
like it is now. It's
That's what I
just,
was asking.
yeah, yeah.
So if there's any edits that need to be made to the MOA, we can do that and boom, this gets up.
Right.
Got it.
And so that part about the fees is further down.
yeah, it's number
So
2, I
it's-
believe.
Yeah, but like
By
you said, it
accepting-
references fees above and there aren't any above. so
Right, and it's
how
all
do you wanna say
inclusive
that?
of, someone's in a hurry to register. I just think we've had this situation come up for years that people say they had no idea that when they clicked that there were fees involved.
What's in the hover over by the MOA accepted for that information?
By checking this field, you are accepting the Commonwealth of Virginia EVA memorandum of agreement.
Wonder if we change that to comma including EVA fees.
Or a
second
check. Yeah, I was thinking both. Include it there, where if you hover over, it's somewhere there's a disclaimer about the fees. And then when they click on it and another box pops up and say, just as, second reminder that you have agreed.
Or would it possibly be here?
As part of
You
the,
will receive an email shortly. Instead of having a pop up, I'd have to
as the
see.
confirmation. Makes sense. set 2 check boxes is gonna be programming, which
Yeah.
is,
Probably.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but
no,
here maybe as a confirmation message.
Or if they're, yeah, here's a confirmation message, and then when they get the email,
it is in the email.
it's
that
in the
says-
email and it contains the schedule of Viva fees or something.
Notifications can be updated rather easily, so that would be something to discuss.
What was, were they able to hear?
Yeah, Shane, were you able to hear that discussion about the fees and the MOA?
Yes,
Okay, good.
I just think that's really important, because, you know, 80% of our calls are people that are saying they have no idea.
Is it that high?
Yes, it is that high.
They're saying they have no idea.
have
if
no
they're-
idea.
No clue.
They're not told on the agency side, and then it's a lot of it's, what is this bill? Why am I getting it?
Why am I getting a bill?
Why
It's
am I
like, well,
getting-
you agree to the fees when you register. I didn't know
No, they
that.
have.
Right.
they
A
have
lot
no
of-
idea.
Yeah,
They don't read it. Okay, I
they
didn't
don't
read
read,
it.
they don't read,
No, I know. I
yeah.
know that.
I mean, think about it this way, how many times do you register on the site and you?
Just
click it,
once.
and
Yeah.
it's-
There's a whole list
Right.
of terms and conditions, and a lot of people just don't click.
They don't click. You know what I mean?
Hey, I don't wanna read all that. So-
Yeah.
So maybe like Rich had a good idea with like the.
This screen and maybe the
and the
email that goes
comes
to
out,
them.
You know.
I had written, at one point, I had written, welcome to Eva and, like kind of an introductory.
Right,
But I just think it would be a great idea to include the schedule of Eva fees. And if when you receive your first invoice, if you have any
Mm.
questions, to contact me, and, you
Jan,
know.
Did you see the note from Lisa? About the jail for that?
I mean,
Oh.
okay,
the feedback I always got was, well, that's gonna deter people then. Well, then, good. If they're not willing to pay the fees, why would we want them to register, get an invoice, and then not pay it?
right,
I just
Okay,
think
let's-
ultimately it will open a dialogue, if anything, where we can use that to discuss the benefits of EVA. Rather than have someone that just accepts it, doesn't realize it includes fees, and then they almost seem angry, like they were tricked into it or something.
Right.
right. So then let me kind of as a follow-up with the confirmation email that the suppliers get. Does anybody on the CGI or the Commonwealth side also get copied on that email? Is there a way that we can know?
Is it just a supplier that
Just a
receives the
supplier.
email?
They receive the email, so they can, reset their password.
We don't get anything in addition to what the supplier receives.
We can see, and I'll show you in a bit, but since we're on MOA, we can show what they accepted, but I mean, it'll just show a screen, basically a screenshot of the MOA that
Yeah.
accepted,
Well, you
so.
have the verification.
Okay, so I've registered. Now let's taking a look at this. And I gotta stop share to move to a different screen. I gotta log out of. So here, move into. Start back up. Open. Okay. I know. Shane, can you see my screen? I had to stop and move to the admin side.
yes.
Okay, good. All right, so suppliers registered. Now it's how to figure out, let's find this. So there's many ways to find the vendor or the supplier. There's
Before you go through that, can you log into the supplier side, the supplier account that you created, so that you can see what the supplier sees?
I will do that as soon as the Auth0 runs, and that's what I was gonna get to. So there's a way to and this is, so the email that goes out and backing up before we talked about MOA. So what happens, an email is going to go out. It's from our Auth0 where they'll be able to log in. And it says, welcome to EVA, register or complete, reset your password is, and so then you can log in. So here is a good way if somebody registers it. In system tests and UAT, it's an hour that job runs. So if you registered now at 10:01, it could be an hour before you would get that email. And I think vendors might start calling because they want to, look at something or respond to something. In production, it's going to be, as I know, 10 minutes it's going to run. So I don't think it'll put a vendor out, for 10 minutes away for the email. So, but there is a way to actually verify, and that's through the user cockpit. And we can actually see if our new vendor has, let's contact create. Okay, so here's my new vendor, Supplier, and his account, his contact, and it's been created in Auth0. That means that email, if it was a valid email, would have gone out. So, and this would, then the vendor can log in. And so what we'll do is I said boost.conny at none.none. So we will finish up and log in with that vendor. Okay. So not much change after they log in. Here they can go through and start looking at different opportunities, and then they'll be able to respond online. If there's any account information that they want to add, W-9s, this is where they can do it. So it can either come from an information request from your team, and I don't know, Lakia, how are you going to request these
Well,
documents?
we send the, welcome to EVA letter, we put the links to the COVID W-9.
Good.
So we have that link.
Okay. All right, and this is company profile. Where would a supplier put that? They could come to document inserts, add a legal document, form W-9. So it begins today. Let's see if I have a junk attachment there. And then save and close. So here, it'll put it into a status of approval in progress. This will let your team know that it's out there. And then once you start reviewing the vendor or the supplier, excuse me if I use vendor and supplier, I'm stuck in both systems right now. I haven't made just the full move to supplier yet, so bear with me. So here, company information, this is what a supplier would see on their. They still have the option to make updates while it's still in kind of pending status, pending approval status. You can update, you can see, I have a contact, I have a user, any other documents, SWAM certifications I'll talk about in a bit. Once we're starting to onboard, all the addresses still there, and then the qualifications, the commodities, and whether they want to be notified. So, do you have a question, Pete? No? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So here, this is, and then here, sourcing, where you can manage our, your RFX, contracts, catalogs, orders. Now, this will most likely will be empty if you're a new supplier, but it's all the access that the supplier has on in their account. So log out of here. It may say invalid state. Let me. Yeah, when you're jumping back and forth between buyer and vendor, I think the key, you've probably seen some issues with that. So let me. I have one thing going here, so. Let's log in. Oh, no. Wrong login. All right, back to this supplier. So searching for the supplier, I think there's a lot of ways to do it. We have a lot of options: EIN, SSN, account type, VCUS if it's a converted supplier, foreign tax ID, the DUNS, the name. Also, for if you want to search for if there's suppliers with approval in progress, which is what we're going to see when I get to the supplier. So here you'll see document status, self-registered. We'll get to why. And evaluate's a little different than how we do it today. So the name, the status that it's in, and all of the other EIN information. So let's get in it, pending approval of documents. Let's go in, take a look. And this opens up to the supplier. You'll see at the top, it has the ID. This is the Evalua ID. Supplier demos, the name, and then in what status that the account's in. So supplier overview, says approved over here. These are just the commodities. Supplier, again, name, legal structure. Not a whole lot of information is going to be available right at the beginning, but company information. So you see the account type is self-registered. This does, and if you do see the hover over, it does matter with the MOA status. They've accepted the MOA, so they are considered self-registered. And if they reject the MOA, which is something that they can do later through a request for information change, then that they'll be automatically set to state entered.
No, they can't do that.
Oh, no, no.
They need to be deactivated. So whether that's an outside process, we can't have a self-registered automatically be turned to state entered.
If they reject the MOA.
If they reject the
Yeah,
MOA,
they just need to.
they're
not be-
discontinued and not available for, they have to accept the MOA.
We don't want to flip it over.
So they can't move forward if they don't accept it. There's no rejecting. I don't think they can reject it on this supplier.
No, they can't reject on the supplier side. It would be like a request for information change. But
Accept the MOA or they don't register. I thought that's
Right.
what you said earlier.
when you come in, yes, yes. And then once your account's created, and then, if you request to reject the MOA for whatever reason,
So you can go back and reject it later?
not on the registration.
Okay.
No, you can request the information change.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only way you can reject it. I don't see that as something that would happen very often, but
they reject the MOA, then that should be a discontinuation. That shouldn't be a change me to another type of.
No, that's what I thought when you did the initial registration, they go in and they either accept the MOA or they.
They
Or
can't
they can't
register,
register.
they
right,
don't go any further.
Right.
right.
But if they come in a month later
Yeah.
or 6
Right.
months
That's what I'm saying, they
later
wanna
and
edit
say, I want to
something.
reject the MOA, but they still want to be in the system, they can cancel their registration. If they want, so to me, if they
That's what you're saying.
reject,
They can go back in
reject
and edit
MOA is equivalent to cancel my
Right.
registration.
Yeah.
Yes.
it. I'm done.
All right, we could talk more about that. So here for the company information, like I said, self-registered, has all supplier information. Accepts all of the information here, vendor authorized standard name, record ID, and that's to the name with the TIN, and any updates to the TIN tax ID will be done there. Tax address, all of it's still available. Contact information is read-only. And then the MOA, it'll show the acceptance, it'll show the history of it. And this is where you can see who was accepted by, what the event was here, and then you can see, and this is what I was talking about, you can see what they accepted. Now, there's nothing they can update, but this is just, was the MOA at the, at the time
Text
they,
them the time.
right, exactly, so. Right. And here, let's see. We can go through, shows the contacts. Here you'll add your team to whoever's going to handle this, I think. I should add myself for, and then for the profiles, the responsible and responsibles who can actually work on it. There's a couple other contributor and a SME that can either do read-only, kind of like a view option, and a contributor can make updates, but responsibles who's really gonna take care of the account for the admin side. Then here, documents and search, you can see here on the admin side, the status, approval in progress, and I'll go back and show you how. You have to go back, you just an approve button to be able to approve that. And then all of the regions served, the commodities, and approved. The commodity is already set to approve, so. Any questions so far before we start onboarding? That's getting this supplier to be active.
So in this scenario, you created the account with one user, then that user goes in and designates a responsible.
This is on the admin side. So this is Lakia's team would
This
be,
is on the Kia's.
yeah, this is all at, yeah.
So what's, I guess, help me understand the purpose of designating a responsible.
I think it automatically.
It always
once
says
we go in to
responsible.
start onboarding, it tells you who did the onboarding.
Okay,
Yeah,
So it's kind of
Based
an
on our
arbitrary-
law.
Right.
For the intern.
so somebody on your team that's making the updates to,
Right.
okay,
yeah, this is the admin side. This is
Okay.
Lakia side of the house.
On this side, we all get a random IRS verification.
Right.
Then we go in and check the W-9 to make sure the W-9 is correct in the name. We can make changes to the company information before we start onboarding. And
okay,
once we make the account active, we have to do a request information.
okay.
So this is the internal part.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
I was thinking the supplier was.
No, this
Yeah,
is the
the
line, so,
Yeah. All right, and start onboarding. First process, and that first process, it makes a couple of calls, as you can see here. It'll call SBSD to see if there's a match in the SBSD site, and then it'll pull that information over. It'll also make a strike iron call for the email and the phone number to validate those. So Google already handles the address, so that's why we don't make the address call. So here, start through, everything looks okay. If we go to the documents inserts, we come to here. And here's where you can approve the W-9 once it's been verified. Save and close. And then I'll update the status to approved.
Where's that?
This is on the document inserts. This was the W-9 that we attached from the supplier side.
And so where is it that they approve it, or where do you see it?
You can go in here and click edit, and then there was the approve button at the top.
Okay,
Yep.
and that's Lakia's team doing it, but
Yeah.
if we're looking at it to know that a W-9 has been approved, does it?
It's a status, once he closed out of this, it's a status to the right.
Okay,
If it just says
got it.
approve. Yep.
Just hovering over the check?
Right. Right.
Okay,
Yeah, if it's not, it'll have that red X. If it's approved, it'll be a check.
Okay.
All right. Any questions so far on getting this vendor activated? Nakia thinks this is supplier demo is great, so we're going to keep activating. And then yes, there's definitely 3. So, and then you can see that this supplier is active.
I mean, if we get a report of who's registered and then
Yeah,
compare the
before it's
10.
approved, before it's approved, while it's still in the onboarding process. Like if there was any way we had access to the list that we could check on.
We're having
accounts.
questions about billing and what they can maybe validate before.
So checking the
Check the 10
10,
and see if they're already getting collections. of the taxation. But we could check. See if we have them. Yeah.
they wouldn't share.
Oh, not everything, but because sometimes they have multiple companies, but they share it in. So if
Mhm.
they have one, and they're trying to register, basically, we would, none of us would know until somewhere down the line. It's just
Yeah.
a thought, nothing.
So here we have registered. I think I did show the MOA history. And any change that would need to be made now would be through a request information change, and that's any updates that you would need to make, or most updates you need to make, will come through a request information change by the vendor. Vendor will have this button as well on their side. They'll be able to check. And it'll come to Lakia's team, and then they'll be able to make that update.
Most of the changes that they have to request information changes for anything, the tax related.
Right, tax ID, any of that.
Anything on the W-9 or the tax ID.
Right.
Or the tax address.
Yeah, if they wanted to
Have
add
to be
more,
approved by legislature.
right. If they want to add commodities or something like that, they can do that on their own. But questions so far?
So they can update contacts, phone numbers, emails,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
And right now, and either they can't add multiple payment addresses, but then even next they can, they can go in and add multiple payment addresses instead of sending a request for us.
Right. So let's talk about supplier hierarchy. And I'm going to, and supplier hierarchy is similar to what we have for headquarter versus location now. The way it would work is these accounts are really separate. So a new one would and we can actually run through it. Let me, I just gotta grab the tax ID to register again. Log out of the admin side. I'm jumping back to the vendor side now to register with this. Some links. Address. Different one. Street, Columbus, Ohio. All right. Any other questions before I do the MOA? I know that. No, okay. Is this jump back to? Now I'm going back to the admin side to look at. And then how we can kind of link these two together. Since there's really no way to link them when you're registering. This is the news. The company information. All right, it's a supplier. So the previous one was a headquarter. So here, this is how you can tie them together. It's through, you can choose the parent. Supplier demo was, I think, the first one. So you can you can choose. Let's see.
So whenever vendor, this is if a vendor registers with the same tax ID number, they're registering a new location. See, right now, either they have the option to add a new location, but then you have next, when you search by the tax ID number and you see that it's a different location, you'll have to go there and add it to the current company, add it as a new location.
Right, and then there, that's where you would just select the parent, and that'd be the headquarters. It connects them here at the parent-child structure, and you can see all of them. You can, and it's a link to each one, so you can click over and take a look just to verify. And here we'll go to this one as the parent. Then here you'll see this is the headquarters, this is the supplier head office. And then you can expand, then you can see the rest of them down there. So that is how that works. Here you can see the MOA history, see when it was accepted. Here is the option for the admin team to request information change from the supplier. You can run through that. You can also do it from the browse screen as well if you select. And then you can create a request for information as well. It's this one. So here. This is how you can choose what you're looking for W9 SSC. You can update here and then choose which respondents you want, what the supplier contact to contact you back, or for this to go to. And then you can, and once they add it, they'll send it back, and then you will be able to see it'll pop up as the orange on the other side. Let me see. Go back here.
Which option did you select on the browse supplier training?
Which one? And it'll be like an information here. Which one?
Create.
Yeah, so you have to select which vendor, and then you can do it from here.
Okay, so we can send them notifications to verify
Right.
documents.
Right. And you can do it from here. See if I have the right vendor to. Sorry, I have to log out and log back in with. I don't know which vendor that was. Yeah, let me do this right. Let me pick one of the new vendors and we can verify that they got the RFI. That one's not gonna be able to log in. Let's do this one. Create the RFI. It'll give you a list of, requests for information kind of templates that you can run through. There's a questionnaire. So here, I just built this one, maybe you need a W9 or SCC. Internal. Need that one, and then you want Bruce to be the respondent, so open for, I'll get there. End date. We want it quickly, so let's do it by the end of the week, and then open for answers. Okay. And then let me go show you from the supplier side what it looks like. And I know it's a lot to take in the demo. You can ping me, or you go back and look at it. There's just a lot of options that you have. So
We do a lot of this inside the front running inside. So we projected W9, it gives you a box that pops up and let you know why you projected. it.
Right.
You have to look at it.
right.
Oh, so they'll know.
Yeah, they'll know.
Oh, that's good. But they'll know the reasons why.
Yeah, there's internal, comment, and then a comment that goes out.
Right now, we send them individual emails, so while we're in the account, we can send it, once we reject it, W9, we can put in. a whole-
That's great. That'll save you some time.
Yeah. And you'll see here, I've logged back into the supplier. Now you see right on their homepage that they have action items to work through. So, yeah, any questions about, you can internally contact suppliers now instead of having to send them emails. So. And all these links have been added and they drive back to the vendor
I
portal.
have
So.
to go in and play around with the questionnaire, but we can do most of that stuff inside the account.
Right.
mean, that's additional.
Right. I just wanted to show that there's stuff now you can do inside instead of having to email them separately. So
What is the Eva billing link?
you don't remember this one?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking to see where it is. That's nice that it's connected.
So, and the supplier, yep, can go right into the Eva billing. So,
Yeah, well, they won't have an invoice. That's what it's registered.
here, this just drives them to either the company info or they can go back towards back to the vendor portal to go if I want to see who wants to, partner on something, go back and look, and some spend reports and search options for suppliers and contracts. So any questions about what suppliers can do? No? Okay. Any questions online? I know it's been a while since I've stopped and paused.
So I just wanted to stay on the next. we take a break
Yeah,
before we go into-
sure. You want to take a break now? That was it. That was a yes. So Shane, we're going to take a break for 10, 15 minutes or something like that. I mean, stay there.
All right, it's 10:32.
What's that?
Why
10
don't we try to,
minutes.
why don't we try to come back and really start at 10:45? How's that sound?
Okay,
Great, guys.
thank you.
Thank you.